All right, what is good? What is happening? How's everyone doing today? My name is Chuck and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, fellas, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 most underrated guns you guys should be using in Warzone. These are going to range from ARs to SMGs, even a sniper rifle in here, because a lot of these are very underrated, underused, and frankly, just a bit underappreciated. And I know you guys are just going to get some pretty awesome builds out of today's video that don't get shown around here all that much. So if you guys can do me a favor real quick and break 500 likes in 24 hours, that'd be amazing. And subscribe, all notifications turned on. A lot of y'all out there watching this video are not yet subscribed, so quit playing with me, subscribe. The first gun I want to show you guys here is going to be the Modern Warfare PP19 Bison. This thing's actually really good, and I don't think enough people actually use it. So let's actually jump into a pretty sick build here for it, because it's really solid and it just doesn't get enough love. So first thing, muzzle category, of course, we're going to go with the monolithic suppressor here. This is just the way to go for this gun. You always want to run the mono on pretty much any of the Modern Warfare weapons. After that, in the barrel section, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in here, and I mean, we have a couple of different options, but to be honest with you guys, you're going to want to run the 8.7 steel. This is the first one you happen to unlock. It gives you damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Always a really solid option in here, and I absolutely love the Bison. Specifically with this barrel, I think it's absolutely incredible, so you guys should definitely go ahead and use this one. You can skip over the magazine just because this thing has such a large magazine off rip. We don't need to like go ahead and increase our magazine. So we're going to do with that, our attachment, we're actually going to throw it here onto the laser section, and we're going to go and throw onto the 5MW laser here for hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speed. This thing's already got like a 50 round magazine, so like I said, we're going to be able to throw on the laser attachment instead. I think the 5MW laser is really good for those close quarter situations. I think it's going to be pretty solid for you guys out there, and I would just definitely recommend using this. After that, in the rear grip section, we're going to go and throw on the stipple grip tape here for the increased ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. Gotta love the stipple grip tape on this gun. It's fantastic. You really can't go wrong with a stippled, and I mean, it's just a really solid attachment. And for our final one here, we're going to the stock section. We're actually going to throw in the no stock attachment here for that maximum movement speed and ADS speed we can possibly get. I have seen other people run maybe like the Corvus skeleton stock. That's going to give you aim, walking, movement speed, and ADS speed. But to be honest with you guys, I mean, you really can't go wrong using either the regular no stock or the Corvus. Can be a little bit more personal preference. These are the two I would kind of switch between the two of. I've had great success from the no stock here, especially in Modern Warfare Public Match multiplayer, and of course in Warzone when I've been using this in Warzone. Don't use it a ton, but I've had great success every time I've used this thing. This is my full build here, the PP19 Bison. This thing is fantastic. Y'all should definitely give it a shot. For sure, underrated and underappreciated. For my next build here, I want to give you guys a build for the FARA 83. This is an AR that just doesn't really get thrown around much in Warzone. It's a beautiful Cold War AR. This is a great variant, and also it's just pretty solid. It's got virtually no recoil, so we're going to outfit this thing to make it an absolute laser beam. It's got a great TTK, so let's get into this thing. First thing, muzzle category, we're going to throw in the GRU suppressor. Obviously, this is just the way to go here. A GRU suppressor is like just the thing you want to put on an AR. We don't want to use the regular suppressor because that's more geared towards SMGs for the Cold War stuff. So the GRU is gonna be the way to go for this thing. The barrel section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw on, what is it, the 19.5 Liberator barrel, that bullet velocity and vertical recoil control. Though you can definitely, if you don't mind having a bit of a slower build here, run the Spetsnaz RPK, and that's going to be the task force equivalent. For me personally, I feel like this gun is a little bit too slow when I use the Spetsnaz, so I go and use the 19.5 Liberator, and this is going to be my go-to thing on this gun. After that, in the underbarrel section, we're going to go throw on the Spetsnaz grip here for horizontal and vertical recoil control. Definitely need this one here, as this is going to really help minimize any and all recoil you guys are possibly going to get. In the magazine section, though, this is where it comes down to personal preference. I personally use the 45 round magazine, but I have used the 60 round magazine here plenty of times beforehand. It just comes down to, I would personally rather be a little bit more agile, a little bit more mobile. So I'd rather go with the 45 round magazine on this gun. This is just kind of like the way I'd prefer to run things. So it's just, like I said, it's personal preference, whether you want the 45 or the 60, but don't ever choose like the 60 round fast mag. No matter if it looks cool, it's not worth it. And then for our last attachment, we're gonna go throw in an optic here, and we're gonna have to throw on the axial arms 3 times. This is the best attachment for the optic section for any of the Cold War ARs. I would highly recommend you guys run the axial arms 3 times. This is my full build here for this gun. Hope y'all enjoy this one. I'm going to start using this here a little bit more because it's got a great TTK. It's got virtually no recoil, and it's a lot of fun to use, to be honest with you. All right, now let's take a look at probably one of the least used DLC weapons in the entirety of Warzone, which is going to be the Lappa. This thing gets largely overlooked just because there's so many other good, Cold War, Modern Warfare SMGs, and of course now we have the Vanguard stuff like the MP40, the Sten, the Owen gun, so on and so forth. There's a lot of other better things out there, but this one just kind of goes under the radar. It's really good. So first thing on here, we're going to skip the muzzle category just because this is going to be a bit of a unique build here. We're going to go straight to the barrel section. We're going to go through on the 7.9 BR Compact for damage, horizontal recoil control, and aim, walking, movement speed. I definitely like this one over something like, the rifled barrel. I do believe the BR Compact works incredibly nicely. I don't feel like I need to have an increase in my fire rate. I've just used this here when I've been trying to get some gameplay with it, and I feel like this is a pretty solid barrel attachment that you guys could definitely switch it out and run the rifle if you really want to. This does increase your damage and of course your fire rate, but it negatively affects your effective damage range and bullet velocity. So it's kind of one of those things you have to pick and choose between the two. So we're gonna go through on this. After that, in the laser section, we're gonna go through on the Tiger Team Spotlight here. Then movement speed and aim locking movement speed. I like being super agile. The Cold War SMGs really do favor mobility, and they give us a lot of mobility attachments. So I love using the Tiger Team on this gun. After that, we're gonna go to the magazine section, skipping the underbarrel, and we're gonna go straight for the Stenag 50 round magazine. I absolutely love the Stenag 50 on this gun. I feel like it's got a fast enough fire rate where it'll make use of that 50, but it's also not too fast to the point where you get to burn through it. But I also don't want to run a 40 because I feel like I need a little bit more ammo in my magazine. So the Stenag 50 works out pretty nicely on this gun, and I'd recommend y'all run this. I normally speaking don't run an optic on any of my SMGs, but the iron sights and the Lapa are a little bit wonky and just kind of weird, to be honest with you. So we're going to try and like correct that out here, and that's why we're going to go and use the Microflex LED. If we didn't happen to have an optic on this gun, I'd say for sure to put on like a suppressor or something like that. But because the iron sights are so weird and there's no other variants to correct out the iron sights, we're gonna go through on the Microflex, and you're gonna be running around with this thing loud and proud instead of having it silent and being off the radar. It's kind of one of those, you know, things you have to pick and choose between. That's probably why this gun doesn't get used that much, is purely because the iron sights. So we're throwing the Microflex here and call it a day at that. And for our last attachment, we're going to the stock section. We're throwing that Raider stock, 80s fire move speed, aim walking move speed, and sprint to fire time. This is a beautiful attachment on this gun. This is a pretty sick build right here. You guys are going to be surprised at how fast it takes people out. Really, really solid. Absolutely love this thing, and I'm going to make a specific video on it here very, very soon. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at a sniper rifle here, aka the SPR sniper rifle. The Kar 98, largely speaking, kind of dominates in the sniper category, whether it be a marksman rifle, a sniper. You guys get what I'm saying here. It largely dominates in that category, but the SPR is very, very overlooked and underappreciated, but it's awesome. So let's give you guys a build here for it. First thing, muzzle category. We're going to go on the monolithic suppressor here. This is just the way to go, like I said, for all the Modern Warfare stuff. After that, in the barrel section, we're going to go through on the SP-R26 barrel for damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. This is just a really, really solid barrel, and I'd recommend y'all to do this. I've had great success using this thing, and so this is my recommendation for it. After that, we're going to go to the magazine, and we're going to go down to the very bottom here and put on the .338 Lapua Mag 5-R mag. A bit of a mouthful right there, but it gives us bullet velocity, damage range, and of course damage, which is a good thing. Absolutely love the Lapua mag here. This is pretty much the only thing I'd definitely recommend for y'all to run. This, I mean, you could probably try running, you know, the normal mag if you really want to, but I do believe that the Lapua is going to be the way to go. After that, we're going to go to the optic section. Obviously, we need a optic on our sniper rifle. So we're going to go through on the Solo Zero SP-R 28mm sniper scope. This gives us a 4.4 times scope, which is going to be perfect for, you know, playing something like, you know, Rebirth Island or even something like Caldera. It's going to work out pretty nicely. So I definitely say the Solo Zero is going to work out in this regard. And lastly, we're going to go to the bolt assembly here, and we're going to go throw on the Sloan KR-600 Feather bolt. This is going to help with our rechamber speed, aka it's going to make it so that our fire rate goes up. You're going to be able to take more subsequent shots more consistently, as opposed to having to wait a little bit of longer time for it to, of course, rechamber the next round, because this is a bolt action sniper rifle. So the faster you can, of course, you know, put the thing back in the bolt, or you can cock the bolt back and, you know, get the next round in place, the faster you can shoot, right? So I probably messed it up here a little bit, but y'all get what I'm saying. This is just kind of how it is. So this is my full build here for the SPR. Y'all should definitely give this a shot. Absolutely love the SPR. It's pretty dang solid. And to finish this whole thing off, let's give y'all a build here with the M13. This thing is a fantastic AR that I don't think a lot of people kind of mess around with here. So let's jump in this. Muzzle category, curse, throw on the monolithic suppressor. That's just the way to go. After that, in the barrel section, we're going to throw on the Tempest Marksman. This is the largest barrel out there. It's going to give us the maximum damage range, bullet velocity, and of course, that beautiful recoil control. This gun's going to have virtually no recoil by the time we're done building this thing. That's why I love it. It's also got a crazy high fire rate, which is awesome. So we're going to throw that on there. In the underbarrel section, we're going to go through on the Commando foregrip. Really ain't got to go too crazy with this thing. It's just not going to have much recoil, so we don't need to slow ourselves down by having like a Ranger, tactical, you know, even for some reason like the Merc. I've seen people run that before. It doesn't make sense. Don't do it. Just throw on the Commando foregrip. After that, in the magazine section, y'all can throw on either the 50 or the 60 round magazine. This is going to be a bit more of a medium range specific build here. So I'm going to throw on the 50 round magazine because we're going to go for a tad bit more mobility as opposed to having an extra 10 rounds in the magazine. I'm normally a 60 round magazine kind of guy, but today we're going to be going for a bit more mobility. So 50 is going to be the way to go. Also, stick away from these 300 blackout rounds. These things are pitiful. Don't ever use them. I don't really care if it says damage range or anything else like that. Don't use it. I mean, listen, I mean, you got 30 rounds in the magazine. This thing fires enough. It doesn't have a super high damage output. So if you give yourself 30, I mean, you're gonna get like one person in that mag if you're lucky. So definitely don't do that. 50 is the way to go. After that, the optics section to finish off this whole build, the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. This is gonna be great if you can throw in like a blue dot or anything else like that. It works great even if you don't have the blue dot. This is my full build here with the M13. Hope y'all enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, make sure you guys give it a like, subscribe if you're brand new, and just run on Triple Cap. Don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.